All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Welcome in, everyone. Today, we're breaking down a seriously hilarious, action-packed adventure, the classic giant cheese mystery. And you know, what makes this breakdown so incredibly special is that we're looking at this brilliant piece of full 3D colored animation. We're going to completely dissect how those stunning 3D visuals actually elevate the physical comedy. But more importantly, we're going to track the rapidly shifting character dynamics of our absolute favorite cat and mouse duo. It is literally a masterclass in visual storytelling, so let's get right to it.
Right off the bat, we've got to ask a pretty big question. What actually happens when the ultimate rivals are forced to share the ultimate prize? You know, we all know the classic cat and mouse dynamic, right? It's that endless game of predator and prey, just packed with traps and chases. But what happens when this irresistible, glowing prize just drops right into the middle of their daily routine? Does the rivalry escalate? Or does the sheer ridiculous magnitude of this prize completely throw the rules of their game right out the window?
So picture this. It's early morning in the house. On one side, you've got Tom, and he is just sleeping absolutely peacefully on the sofa. And on the flip side, Jerry is just waking up inside his little mouse hole. Now, what the vibrant 3D rendering does so beautifully here is it captures this exact, synchronized moment where their sensory experiences completely align. We literally see the detailed animation of Tom's nose twitching, and at the exact same split second, Jerry catches the exact same delicious scent wafting through the house. It's like they're on parallel tracks, drawn completely out of bed by this mutual, overwhelming desire.
And that brings us to what they actually find waiting for them in the kitchen. It is a massive, glowing wheel of cheese, and it's literally almost as big as Jerry himself. The dynamic 3D rendering of this cheese wheel sitting on the kitchen table, it makes it look downright magical. It's not just a snack, it's like a monumental treasure. And the high-fidelity visuals here are just so fun. They capture Tom's eyes widening to this impossible cartoonish size, while Jerry is literally rubbing his hands together in pure, unadulterated excitement. They're just standing there, both pointing at this glowing marvel, totally captivated.
So they're standing there, pointing at the cheese, looking completely overjoyed. But we all know the rules, right? Only one of them can actually claim the prize. And in a flash, they slowly turn toward each other. Those happy, excited smiles just completely vanish, and they're replaced by this bitter, intense stare down. The beautiful 3D shading on their faces really highlights that tension perfectly. And boom, this sets the stage for Act 1 of our classic comedic arc. The peaceful morning truce, yeah, that's completely over. The war for the cheese has officially begun.
Let's actually break down how this first skirmish plays out, because it is a total masterclass in kinetic slapstick. Tom, he goes for the stealth approach, tiptoeing super quietly toward the prize. Jerry, who is always the tactician, sneaks right underneath the table. And just as Tom extends his paw to claim his victory, Jerry ruthlessly yanks the tablecloth. The physics of the full 3D colored animation here are just spectacular. Tom goes flying through the air and crashes violently into this massive pile of pots and pans. Meanwhile, Jerry totally uses the chaos to grab a tiny piece of cheese and just laughs. It's a super quick, decisive victory for the mouse.
But hey, Tom never stays down for long, does he? He recovers and immediately escalates the stakes. He's rigging ropes, stacking boxes, and suspending this incredibly heavy rolling pin right over the bait. And because all of this is rendered in such incredibly detailed 3D, the textures, like the fraying of the rope, the grain of the wood on the rolling pin, the super precarious balance of those cardboard boxes, it all makes the danger feel so much more visceral and heavy. Tom genuinely thinks he's constructed the ultimate snare here. And yet, Tom's absolute masterpiece is completely defeated by a single thrown peanut. This is really where Jerry's brilliant comedic timing just shines. He doesn't even bother engaging with the complex mechanics of the trap. He just stands there, smiles super confidently, and casually tosses a peanut right at it. The impact triggers this massive chain reaction, and the trap activates entirely on its own. The whole shebang comes crashing down directly onto Tom. The sequence caps off with this fantastic visual gag where Tom is stumbling around completely dizzily, wearing a metal cooking pot as a helmet. So right when Tom is down for the count, and Jerry seems totally poised to take the whole cheese for himself, we get a massive Act 2 twist. Enter the clever little crow. The back kitchen door just suddenly swings open. A crow lands right beside the massive, glowing cheese wheel, grabs the entire thing in its talons, and just flies straight out the door. The ultimate prize has literally just been hijacked by a total outsider. No way, right? And you know, this brilliantly illustrates this incredible psychological phenomenon that we call the unspoken alliance. It's basically when two bitter rivals team up instantly without saying a single word to defeat a common enemy.
When that crow steals the cheese, Tom and Jerry just completely freeze. They look at each other. They both shout silently in utter surprise, which, by the way, is a great exaggerated expression captured perfectly by the dynamic 3D motion. And then, without even second-guessing it, they're a team. Jerry literally hops on Tom's head, riding him like a tiny steed, as they absolutely sprint out the door.
What follows is this frantic backyard chase that happens in a rapid-fire sequence. Just seconds after the theft, the crow is frantically dodging trees. Moments later, Tom is charging at full speed and crashes straight into a wooden fence. But of course, that doesn't stop their momentum at all, because shortly after, Jerry uses a trampoline to bounce high into the air. And finally, Jerry lands directly on top of the flying crow. The fast-paced 3D motion in this entire sequence is dizzying and just incredibly immersive. You really, truly feel the speed and the desperation of that chase.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how the source material totally plays with pacing. After all that high-speed chaos, Jerry's impact knocks the massive cheese wheel loose, and suddenly, the animation instantly shifts into this super dramatic slow motion. We see Tom desperately reaching for it from the ground. We see Jerry reaching for it as he falls through the air. The giant glowing cheese slowly tumbles against the backdrop of the sky until, boom, normal speed resumes right as the cheese lands perfectly and safely in the middle of a backyard picnic table. It is this miraculous, deep breath of a moment, a shared victory. So, they finally have it. Our heroes are standing at the picnic table, just smiling at each other. The rivalry is totally paused. They are genuinely ready to share the prize they fought so incredibly hard to get back. But this beautiful moment of peace is completely ruined by a family of tiny mice. Just as we enter Act 3, totally expecting a satisfying feast, the narrative just subverts all our expectations with this sudden, unexpected invasion.
It starts small. First, just one tiny mouse appears on the picnic table. Then another one pops up. And then, suddenly, dozens of them just swarm out of nowhere. Within mere seconds, this massive horde of over 50 tiny mice completely devours the giant glowing cheese wheel. The vibrant full 3D colored animation creates this crazy swirling vortex of tiny mice. And when they clear out, kind of like a vacuum, the giant prize is just completely gone.
Well, almost gone. Out of that massive Jerry-sized wheel of glowing cheese, only a single tiny crumb remains sitting on the picnic table. It's the ultimate comedic anticlimax. Tom and Jerry are just left standing there, staring at it in absolute disbelief. The silence is heavy, broken only by the loud, rumbling growl of their empty stomachs. I mean, they went through a literal war, an unspoken alliance, and an epic backyard chase, all for absolutely nothing.
But you know, this actually illustrates a totally different side of their dynamic, which is really sweet. Jerry picks up that single, tiny crumb, and instead of just eating it himself, he carefully breaks it perfectly in half. He hands one half to Tom. Tom is clearly deeply touched, and he smiles this really warm smile. They eat their microscopic halves together in this beautiful, quiet moment of true empathy. The highly expressive 3D character models here really allow their faces to convey this deep, albeit temporary, friendship and mutual respect.
So the really crucial takeaway here is just how incredibly fragile this little truce actually is. Suddenly, a new, delicious smell drifts out from the kitchen window. Their noses start twitching all over again. They both look back toward the house, and slowly, those friendly, empathetic grins turn right back into expressions of fierce, competitive determination. The inciting incident basically loops. They sprint back toward the kitchen and immediately begin chasing each other all over again.
And that brings us to a final thought I really want to leave you with today. Are Tom and Jerry actually enemies? Or are they just best friends playing an endless, brilliantly animated game? The way they can so seamlessly transition from bitter rivals to unified teammates to empathetic friends sharing a single crumb and then right back to chasing each other? It really suggests they actually love the thrill of the chase just as much as they love the prize itself.